Welcome to episode 1 of Dead But Not Buried, a series where I find old neglected bicycles, clean them up, repair what's needed, maybe replace a few components, and either fall in love and keep them for myself or list them back online, make a couple bucks, and get them into the hands of somebody who will appreciate their remaining miles. So the first bike up is this 1991 Specialized Hardrock that I found on Facebook Marketplace for $50. I picked it up from the original owner who used it as a college commuter bike, hung it up in the garage, and that's where it sat for the last couple decades until I was able to snag it. I was meeting her at her house and I didn't want to take up too much of her time, so I had a few things in mind that I wanted to check when I got there. The first thing was I wanted to make sure that the free hub body was functional. So I grabbed the cranks, pedaled backwards, there was no chain suck, and every time I pedaled forward, the free hub engages. So that was number one. Did a quick visual inspection on all the welds on the frame. I didn't see anything concerning there. We're out in Arizona, so rust wasn't really going to be a concern, but of course I did a quick visual on that. Checked all the bearings for play. So just kind of grabbed the wheel, wiggled it, front and rear. There was no play there. The headset did have some play, and the lock nut up top here was not tight. So hoping that they didn't ride it too many miles in that condition. I already got some parts ordered for it that I know needed replaced. For example, the tires were just solid. She rolled it out and it looked like they were inflated. There was actually 0 PSI in the tubes. The tires were just so hard that they were actually not collapsing under the weight of the bike, which was pretty funny. Grips, just old foam grips, are cracked. This left one just comes off. The seat's in decent shape, although I think I ended up ordering a new seat just to get something a little bit more ergonomic on there and comfortable for the next rider. Other than that, I got some new pedals. The bearings are pretty rough in these, and they're just, at this point, you know, this bike's 1991, so they're probably the original pedals. Are over 20 years old. I should over 30 years old, my math. I've got some cables and housing on the way. I'll get that refreshed. But today my plan is to just clean the bike. I'm gonna strip the frame down, get everything prepped up for a full overhaul. Hoping to have this project done by the weekend, and we'll start by cleaning it. All right, so we're back in from the wash, and it turned out really good. I'd say we got at least 90% of all the grime off of it. There's a couple spots that I'm gonna have to spend a little more time on. Down here on the hub flange is pretty grimy. That did not want to come out. A little bit more caked up just around the bottom bracket. So next step here, we're just gonna disassemble it. I think tear it down to just the frame and pick it up from there. Yeah.
Nope.
Did that slip or did it get it? Oh shit, I'm gonna be able to get this one. All right, I've run into my first real issue, and that is the drive side bottom bracket cup requires a 34 millimeter wrench, and I only have 32 and 36. So I'm gonna try to use an adjustable wrench. Although I tried to push on it once and it already slipped off. I'm trying not to booger this thing up too much. So worst case scenario, I'm just gonna leave it in the frame. It's tight and I'll just clean it the best I can. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see how much I wanna push this and without damaging the thing. All right, so eventually I decided to take it to a local bike shop just to see if they had the right tool to pop it off. And one near me was able to pop it off in just a couple minutes. They didn't even charge me for it. I ended up buying a new chain for this bike anyways. The chain that came on it was pretty rough. So threw them a little tip, and I'm glad that they got it out. I was able to clean everything up the way I was hoping to. So it's day 2. I'm still waiting on the cable and housing kit that I ordered on Amazon to get here. I don't think it's gonna get here till later tonight. So I gotta take advantage of the time I have during the day. We're gonna put on the rest of the components, everything but the cables and housing. I took some time just to wipe everything up, got it real clean looking. So I'll show you where we're at. All right, so here's some of the components that I just cleaned up a little bit better off camera. Took a scrub and some simple green and just got deeper into it, but cranks, derailleurs, brake calipers, levers, stem, all that kind of stuff. Just got it cleaned up, and I think now we're just gonna get it installed. Oh, tires mounted up. Got these tires off of Alibaba for 21 bucks each. Super lightweight, really thin sidewalls, small knob. A good profile for just commuting around or doing some light gravel use. For the price, I think it was a decent tire, really. I used the original inner tubes that I pulled out. They're still fine. Hub overhaul turned out great. Same with that set and bottom bracket. Everything's running smooth and nice. So again, little pile of stuff here. We'll get it going. All right, it's been a couple days since I worked on this project. I got myself into another bit of trouble here, somewhat self-induced. I remembered while I was waiting for the cable and housing kit to arrive that the front shifter was not indexing or clicking when I bought the bike, and I needed to address that. So the trick with those, if you haven't worked on them, is find an access point into the shifter and just soak it with WD-40. I'll show you here. So if you're ever working on a bike that's older or it's just been sitting a while, and when you go to click your shifter, index it to the next gear, and nothing happens, it just kind of presses but doesn't click, you take something like WD-40 and you find a little access point, and then you just soak it. You just spray it, and it should, in theory, break down some of the old grease or whatever's built up in there that's holding back the pawls from engaging. And I tried that for hours, where I would spray it, cycle the shifter, spray it, cycle the shifter, let it sit for a while, come back, do it again. Nothing was working. Okay, so the next step in an effort to bring the shifter back to life, now, this is the rear one, I'm just showing you as an example, was to remove it from the bike and pull off the cover so I could access the internals. So you remove the cover, or the little screw on bottom that holds it together. Remove the barrel adjuster. Not so hard last time I did it. There you go. So we separate the cover from the shifter. Then we have the internals. Now, this rear shifter works, but what doesn't work, or I should say what is not working when you have an issue with these, move that out of the way. You have a pawl right here. Okay, and this pawl should move freely. Okay, if you can see that, it lifts up. Get a good angle on it. It lifts up and the spring pulls it back down. Okay, these are the internal mechanisms that help you index or click. The front shifter, I physically could not move either one of the pawls. So I had a little pokey tool, I had a screwdriver, and I was just putting everything I had into it, spraying the little pivot point here, try to break it free. And at best, I was able to get like 2 degrees of movement. It was just not gonna work. So then I got desperate and I pulled everything apart. That is what you see here. This is the front shifter fully disassembled. The one small victory I have is that the pawls now move freely. But if you've ever pulled one of these apart, you know how hard they are to get back together. And I kind of knew going into that point of desperation that there was a very low chance I would ever get it fully assembled and functional again. And after some hours of fighting it, I just had to come to terms with it. So I ended up picking up a cheap set of micro shift 3x7 Shimano compatible shifters, so I can get this thing done. There'll be a couple other modifications that I have to do real quick. One of which is these old levers and shifters kind of worked well together. There's this cover that sits over the shifter that will not work with the new one. So I'm just gonna have to kind of saw a chunk of this off and file it clean. I don't have a hacksaw right now, something I gotta eventually pick up. I have a little collapsible saw for cutting wood while camping, so that's gonna have to get the job done. Then at that point, I should be able to piece everything together, get the new shifters on, cut all my housing to size, tune up the derailleurs, the brakes, and then hopefully get this thing on the ground and out for a quick test ride. I think it's time to wrap this one up. It's been on the stand long enough. So that's where we're at. All right, so then we'll just take a file and clean this up the best we can. I think it's gonna work out just fine. All right, so stop there. It did not turn out fine at all. It was actually probably the biggest eyesore of the whole project. The way I cut these, and I don't know if I was just rushing, it's probably what it was, but very inconsistent cuts. They weren't even. It created a gap between the shifter and brake lever on one side that looked entirely different than it did on the other side. And this is just sort of the domino effect of the unforeseen issues that pop up where the shifters had to be replaced. I get these new micro shift ones on there and it forces me to cut these levers, and it kind of just snowballed from there. But it's what it is, it's the nuances that make these flip projects fun and interesting, I suppose. Okay, while we are watching me reinstall some of the parts that I've already installed, I figure it's a good time to go over the selling strategy for this bike. It is something I'm going to list on Marketplace. Here's what I have into this project. The bike was $50, chain was $15, pedals $13, saddle $10, tires $43, grips $10, shifters $12, total investment of $153. Since this is my first one, I'm not really concerned about how much time I put into it. It gave me an excuse to get back into content creation. It's been a long time since I posted this channel, so I'm not worried at all about that. I've also just missed wrenching on bikes. It's been a couple years since I've worked at a shop, and it was just fun to throw a bike on a stand and actually get into it. As far as price, I mean, it's gonna really be subjective depending on what area you live in, how much you value the project you're doing. For me, this one, I'm gonna just list it at a price that I think is gonna sell. I don't want to negotiate and try to squeeze every penny out of it. I think it's probably
For the right buyer, maybe a $250 bike, but I'm just going to list it at $200. It's not a lot of profit, but I'm not too worried about that. It's more just for the fun of this project. And I'll see how it goes. I already have a bike lined up for episode 2. I purchased it a couple weeks ago. Similar to this bike, but it's in a little worse shape, so we'll see where that one ends up. With that, I'm going to leave you with some pictures of the final product. Say thanks for stopping by and watching this video. It was a lot of fun to make, and we'll see you on the next one.